Okay, so today we're doing the third part of the video series that I've posted. So the previous two videos, I showed you how to make this template in Cricut Design Space, and I also showed you how to turn the sticker that I'm actually going to make into a water slide. I showed you how to turn an SVG file into a sticker in Design Space as well. So I'm taking that template that I made and I cut it on a double-sided adhesive sheet, and now I am applying that to my tumbler. So what I've done to prep is I sanded a 20-ounce straight AF Mother Tumbler, spray painted it white with a white flat 2 times Rust-Oleum spray paint, but I also went over it 3 times with a clear sealer because this double-sided tape is incredibly sticky, and good luck pulling it off if you make a mistake. And sometimes you can get it off, but it takes anything underneath it like spray paint with it. So I didn't want that to happen. And then once I get the sticky backing off, I am going to apply it to my tumbler. So what I did is I took my craft knife and I wrapped my template around the tumbler first, and then I just took my blade and just kind of etched in the top, the bottom, and the middle, just a little itty bitty mark so that I could see where to line that up. I don't want to put a marker on my tumbler because my tumbler is white and the glitter I'm going to choose is a fairly light color, so I didn't want any marker color to show through my glitter application. And then once my the beginning of my template paper is stuck to the top, the middle, and the bottom right where I marked it, I'm gonna flip my tumbler over and I'm gonna start slowly peeling that paper backing off as I'm rolling the tumbler at the same time. So you're gonna peel, and then as you peel, roll your tumbler, and the pressure from your peeling will pull that paper pretty tight as you're rolling that tumbler, and everything should line up fine. I haven't had any issues doing it this way. I have had other issues when I don't roll it, so it's just a technique that works for you. A lot of people have different ways that they find is easiest for them, so just play around with different techniques and see what works for you. So as I rolled it, the measurement that I took originally was a little bit too small. So as I rolled it, there was a little overlap. And so I have to take a piece of painter's tape, line it up, and then cut off that little overlap, which means that the ends of my template are not going to be a perfectly flush match any longer. So I'm gonna have to kind of fudge a little bit as I'm applying glitter to that middle section and use my craft knife to kind of straighten out some of those lines that now will no longer line up because I have just a few millimeters over the edge than originally planned. But that's okay because I'm planning on doing a white spray paint and then a water slide over the top of it, and this is the section I'm gonna apply that water slide. So I'll be able to cover up most of whatever gets messed up with this overlap not matching up perfectly. And once you have your measurements where you want them and you've used your tape to light it up if necessary, it's time to start applying your glitter. So you want to start with the darkest color first. So I'm starting with my red hearts, and you want to end with your lightest color because you don't want your dark color to bleed or fall into your light color. And when I'm applying the colors to my double-sided tape, I pour the glitter on. Just sprinkle. You don't need a ton to dump on there. Just sprinkle a little bit in that section, and then you rub it with your finger, and that sticks it down nice and tight to the sticky backing. And then when you brush it off with your chip brush or whatever dry brush you're using, it doesn't accidentally pull up too much glitter from that sticky backing because you've pressed it down nice and tight. So you're going to continue all the way around your tumbler, removing strips that match the color that you need to place, and just go color by color until you get to the very end, and then you can go back through and see if you missed any little pieces. And then you're going to be ready to glitter the bottom. So I'm going to speed through this. This, all in all, it took about an hour for me to glitter this tumbler. So I'm going to speed through, and then I'm going to cut out some clips that aren't necessary, but I'm going to leave the important parts in so you can get the gist of the removal of the pieces and the color application before I get to the end. Okay, remember when I said start with your darker color glitters first and then end with your light? Well, I changed my mind on a glitter color, and so I'm actually gonna pick up a dark pink color after I apply this silver, and you're gonna see what happens to that silver. So this silver is a really pretty chunkier mix, and then this pink that I'm gonna use is a dark fine, and it fell onto the Maryland and in through the cracks of the Maryland because it's chunky, and then it stuck to the double-sided adhesive underneath it. Luckily, I didn't hate it. I thought the look of it was really pretty, so it was like a mistake that turned out nicely, but that could have been really bad and it could have ruined my entire project. But fortunately, I liked it. Okay, last step before sealing is to apply glitter to the bottom. So you can leave it blank if you choose to. I wanted glitter, so I applied tack it to the bottom, did a mixture of glitter, sprinkled it on the bottom, made sure that it was coated really good, tapped off the excess. Then I spray sealed it with a clear coat sealer about 2 or 3 times, and then you are ready for your first epoxy application. After my first coat of epoxy dried, I spray painted right in the center where I wanted where I knew I wanted my water slide to sit, and then I did one more layer of epoxy over the top of it. You can apply a water slide to just regular spray paint, but the second layer of epoxy that I put over the top of my tumbler, I put an additive in it, a really sparkly additive, because I wanted my white to be sparkly. So I'll link the additive that I used for that second coat of epoxy in the description box. And so when I put my water slide over the white, it's not just going to be a plain white showing through, it's going to be a sparkly white that peeks through, which I think is really pretty. So here is my water slide that I cut. You cut it just like a decal, except you print it onto water slide paper. And I use my inkjet printer for my water slide. So I printed it and then I sealed it with Krylon clear gloss 4 times. And then I let it dry, and then you're ready to put it in lukewarm water until that backing starts to release from your water slide, and then it just slips right off. So here it is. The water has set. You can see the water slide start to peel off the paper backing, and then I just slide it right off, adjust it where I want it to be. I like that a paper has a little bit of a slimy coat to it, and I like to use that to brush over the top of my water slide before I start messing with it with my fingers. So then I just reposition as I wanted. I wanted the teacher to kind of sit at an angle. I didn't want the rainbow just straight on. And then I'm going to take a squeegee brush, start from the center, and work my way out of the water slide to get rid of any of that excess water. Then use a paper towel to gently tap out the water, or very lightly brush your paper towel across the top. Don't press down as you're brushing the water out or rub it. Your water slide will move, it'll rip, it'll start to get cracks in it. So you just want to be super light-handed when you're trying to dust that excess water off of there. All right, after your final coat of epoxy, as long as there's no bumps and lumps or anything you need to sand, it should be complete. So here we are. Here's the finished tumbler. It turned out so sparkly and pretty, and I really enjoyed making this, and I taught myself a lot of things through this process and what to do and what not to do. I hope I was able to teach you something too. Let me know if you enjoyed the video, if you have any questions or comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will link any related videos.